Hello dear students, hope you are doing well in your home. So today we will be discussing chapter 6 in your half-yearly syllabus, that is God's visit. So this chapter is a drama, is a play, and a play that has a lot of characters and scenes. The characters are Joe, priest, Boris, Annie, a young lady and a baby, and God himself. So this play is all about faith, how a person loses faith and how God himself endeavor to restore the faith of that person. Now what is faith actually? Faith is something, faith is our belief. Faith isn't just a notion that some people hold on to tough times. It's not just a notion. Rather, faith is an important element of life on earth. Faith is what helps us to get through our tough times, which help us to go through our darkness, helping us to give strength during the time of our weakness. Without faith, we are nothing. So we see faith is an abstract thing, yet it's so important. It is said that faith can move the mountain. Faith is belief. So how here in this play, in this chapter, we'll see how the faith of a simple man is restored. In the first scene 1, Joe's called scene 1, and the setup is Joe's house on a cold winter morning. Joe is sitting on the mat and making shoes. The scene 1, we see the setup is in Joe's house, where it's a cold winter morning, and Joe is sitting on a mat inside his house and making some shoes. So we can infer from the setup that Joe was a shoemaker and he was also a simple man. The narrator is the voiceover artist of the play, the narrator who is narrating the scene. So he says, this is a story of a simple man, Joe, and his faith in God. The narrators, before starting the play, or as soon as the play started, the narrator says that this is the story of Joe, a very simple man, and his faith in God. Joe: dear me, this winter seems to be never ending. It's so cold and nobody seems to want my shoes. In the first narration, in the first deliberation of Joe, we see Joe expresses his grief, expresses his hard times during a long winter. We know that during winter, the life of the people becomes hard. There is scarcity of everything. People face hardship. So Joe was not an exception. He was also going through the same hardship. So he sighed and says that why the winter is so long. It seems like the winter is never ending. And it's so cold out there, and his shoe business is also not running very well, and he was unable to sell a lot of shoes during winter, so he was in a financial distress during winter. Then suddenly there was a knock. There is a knock at the door. Somebody knocked at the door, knocking at the door. Joe, who's there? Joe answered the door. Who is there? Asked it from inside. Who was there? Priest. As soon as he opened the door, he found out it was the priest. The father of the church. Priest is the holy man in the church who performs all those prayers, who conducts all those prayers, and people follow them. Priest: good morning, Joe. May I come in? As usual, priest greeted Joe good morning, and he asked permission from Joe whether he was allowed to come in or not. Joe opened the door for the priest. Good morning, Father. Please come in and sit down. Joe greeted the priest and welcomed him inside his house. Priest, well, Joe, how are you? I don't see you in the church on Sundays. That's why I came over to see you. I hope all is well. So like us, like we have a very important day in a week, that is the Friday, to offer our special prayer on Friday. Similarly, the Christians have Christian observe the Sunday as a special day. So on Sunday morning, people of Christianity believe they go to the church for a special prayer. So now, priest, why did the priest came to Joe's house? Where here in this narration of priest, we see that George was not attending the church on Sunday morning, and the priest was curious that a man like Joe, who was a very pious person, who had a firm belief in God, he was not attending church on Sunday. So there must be something wrong. So the priest was making sure, and he was checking out Joe. Joe, yes, Father, I wasn't on the church on Sunday. What's the use of praying, Father? God did not listen to my prayers anymore. He took away Anelia first and then Anton when the earthquake struck. I escaped with Anton, but God took away even that one hope of mine. I am unhappy and God does not help me. I don't want to go to church. See, God's way of working is very mysterious. It cannot be explained with any phenomenon. It's very mysterious. Sometimes we get disappointed on God because we think our prayers are not being answered. But God answers all this prayer sooner or later. It's just the way God work. So we see in this narration, we see that Joe has already been through a very tough phase of his life. He was a single man. He is living a lonely life. Once he had a family, he had a wife, he had a children, he had a kid. But when the earthquake struck, his wife Amelia died, and somehow he could save his kid Anton, who later on also passed away. And Joe is very much disappointed on God because he took away the very dearest thing he had from his life. So he exclaimed, what is the use of praying when God doesn't answer his prayer? So that is why his faith in God was no more. He did not believe much in God. That is why he did not go to the church on Sunday. Priest, no, Joe, you should not say this. God will never let you down. Please come to church on Sundays. The priest was quite shocked. He have never seen Joe in such disbelief, in such disappointment with God. So he immediately tried to console Joe. He said, no, Joe, God doesn't do that. God loves his children. God take care of all his children. So don't get disheartened. God will help you. So come back on the church next Sunday. George could not refuse the word of father. George could not disagree with the father, with the priest. So he said, well, let's see, Father. He said, okay. He just expressed in such a way that if his mind changes, if he feels good, if he feels comfortable, then only he will go to church. That was all in scene 1. Now scene 2. Again, Joe's house, scene 2. So the narrator again from the background, he says, That night, Joe meets God in his dream. So it was night. Perhaps Joe is sleeping and he is dreaming, and in his dream, God appeared in scene 2. God, Joe, why didn't you come to church on Sunday? In the first scene, we see the priest is as the priest came to check out Joe and to ask him why didn't he visit church on Sunday. On the second scene, we see the God came in his dream and he was asking him why didn't he go to the church on Sunday. Again, Joe had the same answer as he answered the priest. You didn't listen to my prayers, so what's the use? So he said to God, you don't listen to my prayers, you don't answer to my prayers, so what's the use of going to the church? Then God assured him, and then God said to him that if I visit tomorrow, will you come to the church then? Then God made an offer to him that, all right, I know you are disappointed in me, I know you are not quite happy with me because I didn't accept your listen to your prayer. So what if I visit your house tomorrow? Will you come to the church again? Joe agreed. Yes, I will. The next morning, it was night. Now it's the morning scene. So naturally, anyone would be excited on learning that God is visiting their house the next day. Anyone. Now George was very excited. He was happy. He had a lot of things going on in his mind. He had to prepare his house for God's visit. He had to prepare something for God's visit to welcome God. So he was very much excited. Joe, the Lord said he will come to my house. I had better get things ready for him. I'll sweep the room and make some soup. He will be stiff with cold traveling in weather like this. So Joe started preparation for God's visit. He started to sweep his room. He started to make his room neat and tidy. He started to do every preparation needed for God's welcome. He decided to make some soup so that when God comes to his house, he could give him a bowl of soup, hot soup, because it's cold winter and God must be very cold, so he can serve him some soup. Now the narrator says, Joe cleans his room, lights his stove and makes some soup. Joe cleans his room, lights up the stove to cook some soup for the God. Joe, everything is ready. I hope God is on his way. It's too early anyway. I might as well carry on with my work. So Joe got up very early that morning and he has finished doing all the household chores. He has finished cleaning the house and preparing the soup, but yet it was very early in the morning and he was waiting for God. And then he decided by the time God arrives in his house, let him do his own work, let him prepare his shoes and do other work. Narrator, Joe leaves the door open and comes back to continue his work. He is impatient and look towards the door often. So Joe left the door open so that God doesn't find any trouble in finding his home, and he continued back to his work, and he is very much impatient. He was very much impatient. He was very much excited, and he was eagerly waiting for God to come. So he was looking towards the door very frequently, and he was eagerly waiting for the God. Joe, oh, I feel so impatient. It is so cold. Boris is early. He never misses cleaning the pavements. I wonder how Boris keeps himself going in the winter, in this weather. So Joe exclaimed to himself that I am really impatient, I am really nervous, I am really, excited to see God, but He is not yet here. And in the meantime, he saw Boris. Now, who is Boris? Our third character is Boris. He was a cleaner, a sweeper who cleans the road in the morning, the pavements, the sidewalks, the pavement, the footpath, what you say. He was cleaning the pavement. And Joe was wondering how could Boris do all those work in a very cold winter, and that too in very early morning. Now he goes to the door. Joe goes to the door and calls Boris. Calls Boris. Hey there, Boris. It's very cold. Why don't you come in and sit down for a while? So Joe felt bad for Boris because it was winter. It was very cold, freezing out there, and Boris was walking on this freezing weather. So he felt sympathetic for Boris, and he went to the door and called Boris and asked him to come inside his room and make himself warm and comfortable. Boris, oh thank you, Joe, I think I'll do that. Boris appreciated Joe's kind gesture, and he decided to come in and sit with him. Narrator, Boris comes in, sit down and has a bowl of soup. Boris came inside Joe's house and sat down and had a bowl of soup which Joe apparently prepared for God. Boris, thank you, Joe. I'd better be going. May God bless you. After having the soup, Boris became very happy, and he said he blessed Joe, and he took leave of Joe, and he was back to work again. Boris left Joe's house. So firstly we see he welcomed Boris in his house, he fed him, he made him warm, and he offered him soup, and then Boris became happy and he was thankful to Joe, and then he left by blessing him. Narrator, Joe gets back to work but becomes impatient and walks up and down. Again, Joe is alone in his room. After Boris left the room, he started to work, and at the same time he was impatient and looking again and again at the door, waiting for God's visit, God to come. Okay. Now Joe thought, he said to himself, he said he would come, then why hasn't he come? Maybe he missed my house. Now Joe was saying to himself that God said he will come to my house. Now why hasn't he come yet? It's already late. I think he might have missed my house. Joe thought that God might have missed his house. Narrator, he hears the cry of a baby and goes to the door. He sees a young woman with a baby standing outside the door. Then Joe heard the cry of a baby. He rushed to the front door and he saw a young woman with his baby standing outside the door. Joe, oh dear, you must be frozen. Come in and make yourself warm. You can feed your baby as well. Come in, come in. Then Joe saw the pathetic condition of that young woman and her baby, and he immediately asked them to come inside his house so that they can be warm, they can save themselves from this freezing cold outside, they can be warm, and at the same time he also invited them to have some soup. Narrator, the woman comes in and sits on the mat. The baby starts wailing again. Joe quickly ladles some soup into a bowl and gave it to her. So the woman came inside the house of Joe, and the baby started wailing again. The baby started crying again loudly. Wailing means crying loudly. Joe quickly ladled some soup into a bowl and gave it to her and gives it to her. Joe did what? Joe took some soup into a bowl and gave it to the young lady. Next, Joe, feed him. Take some yourself. I'll get you a shawl, wrap it around him and he will stop crying. Joe said to the young lady, feed the little kid some soup and you also have some. You can feel some warmth and I'll go and grab a shawl for you from the cupboard so that you can be warm and cozy and the boy will stop crying when he feels comfortable. Narrator. Joe goes to the cupboard and bring a shawl for the woman. Joe goes to the cupboard, reaches to the cupboard and fetches a shawl for the woman. Lady, thank you for your kindness. My baby and I are feeling better already. Nobody has shown me such kindness. So the lady expressed her gratitude towards Joe and she thanked him for his kindness and also exclaimed that nobody ever before has shown such kind of kindness to them, and she was very much moved with the kindness of Joe. Narrator. The woman feeds the baby, has a bowl of soup himself and leaves the room thanking Joe again. The woman, she feeds the baby some soup and she also had some soup by herself and she leaves the room. She left Joe's house, thanking Joe once again for his kind gesture. Lady, thank you very much. God bless you. See, before that Boris also left Joe's house in happiness and contentment and blessing him for the kindness he did to Boris. Now we see the lady also is leaving the house with happiness and contentment, and she was also blessing Joe for his kind act. Joe, it's getting colder and the day is passing out. God, where are you? Why haven't you come? I had better stand at the door and look out for you. Now it's already getting colder. It's already getting late and the day is passing. Now he became more impatient. He became more restless and he was asking question to God that why are you not here yet? It's already late. Why haven't you come? He was asking to God, why haven't you come yet? I had better stand on the door and keep looking. Now Joe decided that he would stand on the door, in the front door, and keep looking for God. Now the third scene was on the street outside Joe's house. Annie is boxing the ear of a young boy. We see the third scene in a street outside Joe's house, and we now see our fourth character, Annie, who was boxing a young boy in his ear. Yeah. Oh, young lady, and here one of the character we missed was the boy, the little boy. Yeah, the character we have missed. Joe saw the situation with Annie and the young boy. Annie was beating the young boy in his ear. Joe went immediately and said, tried to stop Annie from beating the young boy, from punishing the young boy. Joe, stop Annie, stop beating that boy. Why are you doing that? Joe went immediately and said to Annie, stop that, stop beating that young boy. Why are you beating that young boy, that little kid? Why are you beating him? Then Annie replied, beating him? I am going to hand him over to the police. Annie said Annie was very much angry with the boy. She was outrageous and she said to Joe, beating him? I am not just beating him, I am going to hand that mischievous, this sinister boy to the police. Now Joe was quite shocked. No, don't, lady. I'm sorry. I won't steal anything in my life again. Please forgive me. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry. The boy was very scared. He was very frightened by the behavior of Annie. Annie was constantly beating him, and Annie was also threatening him to hand him over to the police. And the boy was very much frightened. The boy said, please lady, don't hand me over to the police. I will never do anything. I will never anything like that, and I will never steal anything. I am so sorry. I am really sorry. So we learned that Annie was punishing the boy because he stole something from Annie. Annie, no, I am not letting you go this time. Annie said, no, 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 I am not letting you go this time. You won't be left unpunished this time. This time I am going to teach you a lesson you deserve. Joe, Annie, have mercy, let him go. What has he done? Joe was still unaware of what happened. He just saw Annie was, was cruel to that young boy. She was punishing that young boy. Now Joe wanted to know what exactly happened. So he asked Annie, Annie, stop, for God's sake. Why are you beating this boy? What exactly happened? Tell me. Annie, he stole an apple from my basket. Now we come to know that the young boy had stolen an apple from Annie's basket. Joe, Annie, don't hit him. I'll pay for the apple. For God's sake, let him go. Joe requested Annie not to beat him, not to beat the young boy, and he will compensate. He will pay for the loss she had. He will pay for the apple. Annie, I'll let him go, but the money first. Annie said, all right, since you are a good man, you are saying me, you are asking me to leave him. All right, I'll do that, but the money first. Hand me over the money first. Narrator, Joe pays Annie the money. She lets the boy go and runs away. Joe returns to his room. And the narrator now says, he explained the situation to the reader that Joe pays money to Annie, and Annie let the boy go, and Joe again come back to his room, return to his room, waiting for God again. Joe, it's almost nightfall and God hasn't come. Now it was dusk. It was already almost nightfall, means it was almost about it is almost night, and yet there is no sign of God. Narrator, he soon fell asleep. In his sleep, God appeared before him. Now it's night. So Joe felt exhausted. Now he felt asleep, and that night he dreamt again. Joe, God, you have come after I have gone to sleep. You appear only in my dreams. Why didn't you come to my house? You don't keep your words. Now Joe was asking God. He was charging God that you keep only appearing in my dream. You said you will be coming to my house today, but you didn't. You didn't keep your word. God, no, my son, you are mistaken. I came to your house thrice. First as Boris, then as the young woman, and finally as the little boy you saved from Annie. Now God said, no, my son, I kept my word. I visited your house not once, not twice, but three times. First as in the form of Boris, then then in the form of young woman, and thirdly in the form of that little boy that you saved from Annie. I am pleased with you and the good deeds you do. I shall look after you. You shall never be depressed or sad. You will have nothing but happiness and contentment. And God said to Joe that he was quite happy. He was really very happy with Joe's conduct, Joe's behavior. It was a test for Joe, and Joe passed the test with flying colors, and God decided to reward Joe. He said, I am very much happy with your conduct. You are a kind person. You are a very good person. I am rewarding you with happiness and contentment. You will be happy. you will have everything you want. You will never be sad, you will never be depressed in your life ever again. Then narrator says, Joe wakes up with a start, oh God, you are merciful. I was not able to see you, forgive my Lord. Now Joe started to realize what was his mistake for not believing in God. And then his faith in God was finally restored. He prayed to God and he thanked God, and he said to God that he was merciful, and he also begged forgiveness for not believing in God, for being astray for a short period of time, for not believing in for a short period of time. So his faith in God is now restored. With this, the chapter came to an end. If you have any question or any queries, do not forget to mention in the comment section below. Subscribe to Al Hira National Schools channel and please click the bell icon so that you do not miss any class. That's it. Have a good day. Thank you.